My dad is a huge soccer fan, and then my brother was very good at basketball, so he was hoping that like I would also be very good at sports, that I would like do all these different things. So he would put me in soccer, a lot of soccer. I'd play baseball, basketball, and like flag football. All up until I went to middle school, and I hated playing all of them. I just really didn't like sports, and I think at some point in middle school I got a little bit sick and I had to stop playing for a little while, and I just kind of used it as an excuse to just stop entirely. So then that's also around the time when I started to like play music in school. Tú me llamaste, yo te respondí, me convocaste y yo me dirigí, haz que de mí brote aquello que sea digno de haz que de mí brote. I think the Baha'i faith has had a lot of impact in Linda Vista already, and I also think like just having one person be moved by the writings, by Baha'u'llah's writings and the Word of God is powerful. And you see like these junior youth and their families like really start to connect with their animator and find like this warmth and really start building like, you know, a larger family. And the thought of how that can expand and how you're seeing it expand every day is really special, because you can start to really see glimpses of a future where people are united and they see each other as one family. My parents worked a lot when I was a kid. It was hard for us to travel. It was hard for us to move around. So in the summer, I could have like maybe played outside with other kids, but I wasn't very social as a kid. So then I would just be like indoors, like on a computer or something, like playing video games. As a kid, I was always very quiet, very like thoughtful. I think coming out of middle school or secondary school, I focused on my studies a lot. I liked learning about different things. I actually went into San Diego State as an environmental engineering major. I think around the time the pandemic hit, I was thinking about like what it is that I also want, that something that I'm good at and something that I really like, because my engineering classes, while I think are necessary, I didn't really enjoy them as much as my chemistry classes. So then I switched over to chemistry. My name is Alex. I grew up here in San Diego, and I'm 21. Right now I go to San Diego State University, and usually when I'm not studying or working, I like to play music. My dad is a really big person that's into sports. Like he loves soccer, and so he would want to put me in like a lot of sports. So I grew up like playing soccer and football and baseball and basketball. My brother was really good at basketball, but I was not very good at sports. So I think when I went into middle school, I got sick a little bit. And I used that as an excuse to like get out of playing sports, and then I just stopped playing sports completely. Around the time when I left playing sports, I also started in my middle school band, and that's when I started like just playing music a little bit. I had a friend who was in the band at the time. He was like very excited about the junior youth groups, and he just kind of wanted to get people there. So he would promise us, like, hey guys, there's gonna be pizza there today, like you guys should come by. And so like maybe a few of us would go, and that's what got me to go. I would go at like that one time, and like it's interesting. Like studying the books were interesting, but I wasn't very like consistent. So I heard it about. He was just like, "There's food, so come," and I was like, "Okay, I like pizza." I didn't really understand what the junior youth groups were until like later, when I was really studying to become an animator and studying Book 5. So the junior youth program is a worldwide program where junior youth of like groups between 10 to 15, they come together and they start studying what are called junior youth texts. And I think with the help of an older youth called an animator, they're able to develop a really like a moral foundation and their moral compass to sharpen their spiritual perception and to really help them like lay down critical concepts that will help them into like their adulthood. And so they'll develop acts of service and plan them out and employ them. And sometimes it really helps the community, and at the same time it helps these youth that are helping them, these groups, that to grow themselves. So it's a really like truly reciprocal process where not just the junior youth are being helped or growing, but everyone is growing. After going through the program a little bit and then becoming an animator, I was able to really think about my life in a very critical way, in a critical light, and learn what it was that I wanted in my life, think about these concepts that I wanted to employ in my life, and think about just what it is that I value in my friends, how I want to support my friends, what a true friend is, how we teach that to junior youth. And really how we build community under like the light of Baha'u'llah. They invited us like, hey guys, we're gonna have like this institute campaign at the Baha'i Center. And it wasn't really until my freshman year when they invited us to study the Ruhi books that I would actually be consistent. When I started learning about the Baha'i faith, really through the Ruhi Institute and through Book 1, I started realizing there was a lot more or a different kind of things to learn about besides just like science and math. In the Book 1, you study often about introduction to like Baha'i writings. And then the next part, we really think about prayer and the importance of prayer in our lives and the importance of prayer every day. And the last part is thinking about life and death, which acknowledges that our life doesn't end with our body's life. It continues past that. And because of that, we also have a duty to God and to ourselves to actually like progress in this world. After taking Book 1 with my tutor, Yasi, and I remember that weekend I would ask a million questions, and that was the first time like I really got close to Yasi, was because I was asking so many questions. I was very interested in the faith, like not just the Ruhi materials, but very interested in the faith itself, because I knew that that's where these things were coming from. My mom is Catholic, and so we would always go to church every Sunday growing up, and I would go to Sunday school. We would study different things, and I liked singing. I like at my church. We like play a lot of music, and I think I associate music with worship and with God, and that was my favorite part from church. But I never really got to think about these concepts until that book one with Yasi, and when we started thinking about it critically, I had all of these questions. We ended up with what we call the parking lot of questions, and there was like maybe 10 of them, and it kept growing, and everyone contributed to it, but I feel like I just kept asking so many that afterwards she felt like this would be helpful for me to begin exploring and think about not just the Ruhi books, but about the faith, the Baha'i faith itself. I kept having more questions, and she said, okay, here's this book. It's from Abdul Baha, who is the son of Baha'u'llah, and it's called Some Answered Questions. So maybe it'll answer some of your questions. I think after reading this book, I found more questions than answers. It helped me really start to learn how to ask those questions. And it gave me like more of a framework as to how to think about the Ruhi books, how to think about faith, and how to think about these things. But because of that, now I have more questions than answers. When I was reading the book, and I would read it like maybe chapter by chapter, or like go through and like think about the things that I was really thinking about through the table of contents. My mom doesn't really speak English, or she can't really read English, so whenever I found something that was interesting, I would just share it with her and try to translate it into Spanish. She was very open to the idea. My dad was a little bit more skeptical. He was actually he didn't really want me to go. He was concerned about me getting close, but my mom was always very encouraging because she knew, she saw how excited I got, and she saw how close this was getting me to God. And so she thought it was a good thing. A few years later, time has passed. I continue getting close to the faith. I study more books. We study book 2, we study book 3, and then after studying book 3, which is like a preparation to start children's classes, me and my best friend at the time, we started children's class. We study book 4 and 5, and all the way up to 7, and at that point I'm 17. And the summer before my senior year in high school, I'm asked to help coordinate the summer efforts. So a very special, very intense period of time in the summer when people have time, people are out, people are doing things, and so you can actually go and invite a bunch of people to be a part of these different activities. And it was my first time coordinating. I was very young. But the training, there was a lot of things happening in my personal life, in my household, that was very hard for me. But I really relied on service and and especially that summer, to really despite these things happening somewhere else, I can still provide service and help others and be there to support other people. And I think that idea and that's very something very special to me that I realized it isn't found in very many places. And I knew I believed in Baha'u'llah, and so that summer I had declared as a Baha'i. So this is the House of Mexico. As a part of the international houses they have here in San Diego as a show of representation and unity. and they have all the different cultural displays that they could fit in there. This is the House of Panama, which I think they are currently working on building the display. And then here we have the House of Iran. And these are all just a part of this display as a symbol of unity. My mom is from Guerrero, Mexico, and my dad is from Chiapas, Mexico. They met here in San Diego, but they both came here like independently. My mom came here to try to raise my brother in like a better environment, and my dad came here also to like find a better place. The night before, I was talking with my mom, and I think it was more significant for me to her because my dad, while he was skeptical about the faith, he himself didn't really have like a faith. Like he wasn't very Catholic or Christian. So it was more important for me to have that conversation with my mom. I was talking with her, and I don't remember everything, but there was a few things I do remember. Was that I told her that I wanted to declare and that this was something that I believed in. And it was very emotional. We were both crying. But I remember after telling her, she said, there's many paths to God. And as long as you and the rest of my children, as long as all of you guys are on a path, one of those paths, any path to God, that's a good path. Like as long as you're on one of them, it doesn't matter to me because they will all lead you to God. Yeah, it was something I think about every day. And even when I talk to other people thinking about like different, obviously like the oneness of religion, my mom never really studied any of these things from the faith, but I feel like I grew up with those things, with like that mentality because of her. Doesn't matter what's happened in the past. If your heart is searching, the answer will come to you like a breeze.